Are you spending a lot of time reading at university, but finding that not a lot of the information is actually going in? Or are you wondering about what your notes should look like? Or are you not sure about how much time in any given week that you should spend reading? Well, watch on, dear friends, because we are going to go through the 3 steps for making good notes when you're reading at university. Here we go. First things first, you have got to read with purpose. This is the most common reason that we find information not sinking into our brains, is because we just are reading without a sense of what we want to find out. So what we're going to find then is that we're reading through information, but not a lot of it's really jumping out to us, not a lot of it's sticking. We might get to the bottom of a page and have to reread the whole thing all over again. So make sure that when you're reading, you have some sense of purpose. How do you find that? Well, it's quite simple. If you're preparing for a seminar, then go with the list of questions that's being asked of you in the seminar and work through that reading as you would have done in any piece of comprehension. So you're finding the answers in the text that you're trying to read. Or if you're preparing for an assessment, then look at the assessment question. What are you actually being asked to do? Are you being asked to describe a model or analyze an idea or evaluate something? Whatever it is that you're looking to do, then try and find or construct little questions that you could ask yourself that will help you to structure your reading. Or at a really general level, and this is what I do whenever I'm preparing for any lecture, is that for any new concept that I'm looking for, I make notes on 4 things, which is the history of that thing, where did it come from? The contemporary applications, what does it look like now, and how can I link that with practice? The advantages of it, how it works well, what are some of the proponents of that theory or model saying, and the disadvantages, what are some of the critiques of that? And I find that if you structure your note-taking around reading along those 4 principles, if you're preparing for a seminar, if you're preparing for an assessment, whatever it is, it gives you a sense of purpose. So the first thing to do is figure out what is it that you want to do. Step number 2. This is when you actually start reading. So you've got your list of questions and you know what it is that you're looking for in the text, but now let's actually get into that core reading that you've been set. And the initial stage isn't about doing a really deep dive and trying to understand every single word, because you've got your structure now, you know what you're trying to find out. So you're just going to be mining the information from that text. So the longest method is for this stage to just be reading in absolute detail and trying to understand every word. What you're going to do in stage 2 is just skim read. Try and get from front to back as quickly as possible. Don't worry about words that you don't understand. Don't worry about trying to understand all of the integrated parts. You're just trying to get a wash of the overall picture of things. If you're trying to get through quicksand, what you do is you get across there as quickly as possible. You're not trying to stop. You're not trying to think. You're just trying to move as fast as you can. So in this skim reading stage, you are forcing your eyes to move quickly. And importantly, you're underlining any key bits of information. And that might be key bits of information that could relate to your questions from stage 1, or it could also be things that you don't understand. And what you'll often find is information you don't understand the first time around probably either isn't that useful, or you'll definitely get it on the second pass. But for the second stage, all we want you to do is skim read, and this should be a fast stage. All about underlining, all about moving quickly. And now is the third and final stage, and this is the deeper dive read. So what you're going to be doing here is that you're going to be going back and you're going to be creating a littler document based on your questions and based on the information that you've underlined. So when you were underlining, you were scrapping, you were getting rid of all of the extra bits of descriptive information in a piece of writing or a case study that weren't actually relevant. So we're getting rid of those and we're just left with the core elements. We're left with the skeleton of that piece. And what you're going to be doing then is you're going to have your list of questions on one side, and you're going to be pulling information from that core reading and putting it to your list of questions. So what you'll end up with, rather than having this 5 or 10-page document as the core reading, you're going to have a condensed version that is based around your questions afterwards. Now, this deep dive might take a little bit longer than the skim read, and you might find that you have to go over certain things, and some of those words that you didn't understand before, we might have to revisit, we might have to try and understand them. But in this stage, this is where you can take your time a little bit more. This is when you're really trying to find that information and trying to find out what's relevant and what's going to help you with that seminar, that assessment, or understanding that concept. So that is the 3-step approach for note-taking from your core readings. And the main thing, if you notice there, was all about having a purpose. Make sure that you know what it is that you are looking for. Be structured by your seminar, be structured by your assessment, or be structured by a general inquiry to those concepts. And as long as you do that, and as long as you go for the stages of skim reading and then a deeper dive, then you are going to get that core reading done efficiently, quickly, and you're going to come away having learned a lot.